Good evening, proletariat! Welcome to Turbo Tuesday, the show where we test the mettle of whatever boss Reddit is salivating over this week. As always, we built a list designed to showcase our CEO of choice and test their business acumen. After a chance to prove themselves, we'll give them a performance review and decide if they're likely to make it in the free meta, or if they'll need to be sent to a Siberian gulag. Today's theme is off-brand blue bunguses, presenting Egyptian God Slime and Raviel Shimmering Scraper. Before we check out today's corporate stooges, however, a word about our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck, the best online site for database searching, deck building, and strategy articles, all conveniently located at www.ygoprodeck.com. The first of these dollar store dominators is Egyptian God Slime. To the resume? Its materials are one Aqua Monster and one level 10 Water Monster. It must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing one level 10 Aqua Monster with 0 attack, of which there is a single target. This card can be treated as 3 tributes for the tribute summon of a monster, it cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent cannot target monsters you control with card effects or monsters you control for attacks, except for Egyptian God Slime. The second is Raviel Shimmering Scraper. Let's check the credentials. This cannot be normal summoned or set and must be special summoned from your hand by tributing 3 monsters. As a quick effect, you can discard this card, then target one Raviel Lord of Phantasms you control. For the rest of the turn, its attack is doubled, and it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If this card is in your graveyard, you can tribute one monster to add it back to your hand. You can only use each effect of Raviel Lord of Phantasms Shimmering Scraper once per turn. 2 monsters, both exceptionally less interesting versions of bigger blue bosses. Can either of these boisterous blueberries escape from the shadow of their predecessor? Let's send our leaders to the Percy ladder. First up is my Egyptian God Slime. Ugh, apologies, that's a terrible Merrick. Where's Johnny Depp when you need him? We're going first. We're going to lead with a copy of Predaplant Orphis Scorpio. We'll activate the effect of Orphis Scorpio to get a copy of Darlingtonia Cobra from deck, and then a Polymerization to hand. We'll Moray of Greed, and that's just what we want. We'll 1 for a copy of Treeborn Frog, then trigger Angler's Effect in Graveyard for 2 copies of Beaver. Afterwards, we'll link summon a Masquerena and a copy of Appaloosa before activating Polymerization and ending on the slime itself. Good luck! Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Prankid's Place. Next, we're going to normal summon a copy of Invoker, which we will negate. Unfortunately for us, our opponent has an Invocation in hand already. They'll go into a Raijin, then trigger the effect of Invocation. Afterwards, they'll activate Pot of Desires, drawing a couple of cards off the top, including a second fusion spell, which will turn into a copy of Rocket Ride. They'll unfortunately chain block us out of the negation of the Lampsies effect, but when they go to activate the effect of Rocket Ride, we'll go ahead and negate it with Appaloosa. They're looking to walk over Appaloosa before resolving an effect, but unfortunately they have to attack this copy of God Slime. They will A-lister, but we have one additional negation. They'll lose their Raijin in the process and pass it back to us. Things are looking great. That's a terrible draw off the top, but still probably fine. We'll go to battle phase and attack, and then pass it back to our opponent. Our opponent for turn draws a copy of, Prankid's Pranks. They'll go ahead and draw a card at end step, but setting one card and passing isn't particularly powerful. For turn, we draw another copy of Ronin Totem. What are these draws? We're going to go Phoenix into destroying a Prankid's Pranks and doming our opponent for 1900 points of damage. We'll pass it back to them. For turn, they draw, a Polymerization. Well, depending on what they draw off the Pot of Desires, it's a magical meltdown, but unfortunately no targets remain in deck. For turn, we draw a Dupe Frog. That should be enough. We're going to link summon a copy of Unicorn and discard this Dupe Frog to tuck back that monster, then activate Ronin Totem's effect, normal summon another, and go into Totally Awesome. That is the end of the game. Next up is Shimmering Scraper's time to shine, and it's proving itself against Pacifist DM. Geez, don't break your neck jumping over a bar that high. We're going to lead with a copy of Dawn 1000. That's going to draw a card off the top of the deck, followed by an Allure of Darkness. Next, we'll activate Into the Void and Hand Destruction. Afterwards, we're going to activate Unleashed, and then normal summon a copy of Dark Beckoning Beast in order to get a Raviel to hand. We'll normal summon a Chaos Summoning Beast, go into a Raviel, Fallen Paradise for a couple of cards, activate Pot of Desires, activate the effect of 7 Gates, and link summon a Masquerena. In a perfect world, we would have been able to activate Masquerena's effect to go into Unicorn, because our opponent would have forgotten about Into the Void. They'll activate Dark Magical Circle and normal summon a copy of Pathfinder. That'll trigger Raviel. Pathfinder will get a copy of Pacifist, which they'll activate, before activating Magician Souls, allowing us to activate Called by the Grave on the card that they are attempting to reborn. Alright, we've got one turn to lock this up, and you know who would be good for that is Shimmering Scraper. We'll activate Fallen Paradise, triggering Pacifist and allowing our opponent to find a copy of Battle. We'll activate Hand Destruction, and then link summon a Nightmare Phoenix to destroy this Pacifist, prompting 2 battles from our opponent. Sheesh! Okay, well, we can probably still do it. We'll attack and... oh my god, Shimmering Scraper doesn't do anything against monsters in defense position! Well, one extra turn might be all our opponent needs without Fallen Paradise. They're going to go for a Pacifist. They'll activate Faithful Servant and Magician Souls. Oh no, they're going to special summon this copy of Dark Magician, banishing our copy of Raviel. Then they'll activate Pacifist, walking over our remaining monster. Any action we take is going to get them more interruption. Scraper, you've really let us down. This will trigger Pacifist, and of course there's still a target in the deck. We'll activate Upstart Goblin, but Ugh, isn't that a poetic hand to lose with? Well, we're back, and just how did the petit bourgeois perform? Let's consult our super scientific metrics above. First, let's gander at the god slime. I'm giving this shiny son of a god a 2 in terms of consistency. You can summon him every time you find Metal Reflect slime, or a deck like this one has a pretty good chance of opening it. I'm giving this godular gungus a 2 in terms of investment. While we expect to see support cards for Merrick's Manifestation of the Divine, it can appear often in a list dedicated to the dingus or occasionally for the low cost of a single trap card. I'm giving this giant golden calf a 2 in terms of payoff. It doesn't exactly win the game on its own, but it is a lure with 2 types of built-in protection. Next, let's rate Raviel. I'm giving this copy of a copy, Baudrillard would be proud, a 3 in terms of consistency. He's extremely easy to find, the whole archetype is Stratos's. I'm giving this shimmering sucker a 1 in terms of investment. You can really only jam Raviel 2 in its own dedicated deck, and even there, it's clearly suboptimal. I'm giving this stinking scraper a 1 in terms of payoff. Honestly, all it does is give your Raviel 8,000 attack, and that's nothing in the deck that has a 1-card Armatile setup. Bootleg Honest is bad, even for a bootleg Turbo Tuesday. With that said, my final verdict is a congratulations to the God Slime! You've won the unique honor of appearing again on the channel when your support comes out. Until then, Cameraman! Fetch the Season 4 fan dub.